Hey guys, Fan here again, and today I'm gonna bring you guys my build for soloing Uber Lilith on the Rogue. As far as damage is concerned, I've been pretty much doing the most amount of damage that I have seen as out of any rogues that I've seen trying to do solo Lilith. So I think this build is pretty good. A ton of people have been asking me for the build, the Paragon board, so I'm making the video now to show all you guys all of that, exactly what I'm using, and I'll show you my gear at the end too. But let's start with the skill tree first. So we're going into fundamental puncture here to guarantee vulnerable. Next we have twisting blades. I actually take the point into improved twisting blade for the days. This is nice, I think, because it adds some stagger potential when you're trying to kill Lilith. Um, which is gonna be quite important, especially in her phase 2, her second life bar. Staggering her will be very nice. We take both sturdy and siphoning strikes. Really important to get as much damage reduction as you can so you don't get one shot by some of her abilities. Also, siphoning strikes with high crit chance just full heals you like basically any time you're hitting her, which is really good. Next, we're gonna go over here. I max out weapon mastery, and I also have a point into dash all the way to methodical dash. Now, you don't really need these 2 points. I'm doing this because I find it helps me a lot in the summons phase of Lilith when she summons enforcers, and especially when she summons the Pit Lord demons. A lot of the time, I just want like 1 or 2 seconds of extra CDR on my dash, and that can make the difference between me having enough dashes to get out alive and not. So that's why I do that. Next, we have 3 points here. I do use Dark Shroud in my build. I use it for the move speed. You can also go into Poison Trap. A lot of other rogues are doing Poison Trap variations. So if you don't want this, you can always go this. And we have Poison Imbuement, of course. We're going into the blended Poison Imbuement. This is going to be the most damaging aspect of our build. I go 3 into Deadly Venom. You could also go 3 into Debilitating Toxins here if you want more damage reduction. I personally am not doing that right now. And of course, we get the critical strike chance for the imbuements, also very important. Moving on here, I go Shadow Clone for extra single target burst damage, all the way upgraded. And we go Innervation into Second Wind. These are actually pretty important in my opinion because this build really does damage to Lilith quickly, revolving around a lucky hit mechanic, which is a legendary aspect that I'll show you later. So the lucky hit stuff is actually pretty important. This one just gives you more energy, which is always nice. More energy, more twisting blades, more damage. I also take 1 point into energy regeneration to unlock 3 points into haste. Now haste is really good. 15% move speed is important to dodge all of Lilith's waves. You really want to get as close to max move speed, which is 200% move speed, as close to 200% as possible to dodge everything Lilith is throwing at you. And the 15 attack speed is really good as well. That's a ton of attack speed, and I take close quarter combat for an additional 20% attack speed in order to burn Lilith down as fast as possible, because as Rogue, almost certainly she's going to one-shot you with probably like 60% of her abilities, so you just want to be able to kill her as fast as possible. This is a scenario where the best offense is, or the best defense is a good offense, because you're not living her one shots anyway, so you might as well kill her as fast as possible to give her as little chance as possible to throw out those one shots. So that's the skill tree. Now let's move on to our Paragon board. I have a pretty standard Paragon board start here. This is the glyph socket here. I'm using Cutthroat because I'm doing twisting blades here. Um, I do take both paths here just to get both of these nodes. I think these nodes are pretty valuable. And then we go up from the starting board. Next board is Cunning Stratagem. This is a combo points board, and that's fine. Since we're not taking the legendary node, it doesn't really matter that what it is. I'm just taking it because it's a very nice and short path onto the next board, and I want to access the glyphs. The glyphs are more powerful than most of the legendary boards right now, which is why you see I don't take the legendary nodes for most of them, and we just go straight for the glyphs. My second glyph here is Efficacy. Bonus to all rare nodes within range. This one gives me core skill and armor. So I'm getting more core skill, more armor, more dex from that node. Um, Moving on here to the next board, we have Exploit Weakness. Now this is a 15, X times multiplier, 15 multiplier uh, on Lilith, which is really, really good. So I do end up taking this one. And the glyph here, we have critical strike damage with core skills maxed out. So that's going to be combat on our third board. Moving on here, the fourth board is going to be the Leirana's Instinct. I take all the attack speed nodes in the middle. Attack speed is really good with Twisting Blades, and it's really hard to get in most places. So you take it anywhere you get a chance to take it. Here we have 90 plus 97% damage to poisoned enemies, but more importantly, your poison damaging effect lasts 33% longer. So this is a 33x, it's a multiplier for your poison imbuement, which is your main source of damage. Really important. And now we move on to our fifth board here. This is going to be the No Witnesses board for me. Once again, we have another poison ability. This is plus 67.3% poison damage. I don't think I fully maxed out all of the points here. Just got enough what I could fit in efficiently. But more importantly, your poison damage effects have a 10% chance to deal double the damage over their duration. So once again, this is a 10 multiplier for your poison damage, which is going to be our main source of damage. So that was what? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is fifth board. All right, on to our sixth board. Our sixth board is going to be Tricks of the Trade. Once again, we don't get the legendary passive. The glyph, however, will be Chip. So this is 85.8% extra physical damage, which is really good. And it's also physical damage increases the damage taken, the enemy's damage taken. It's a 10x multiplier once again here. So really good multiplier and really good plus damage on this one. And I actually am running a 7 board setup here. I do have all the Paragon points from the Renown, so if you want to run this setup, you will need all the Paragon points from the Renown, give or take a couple. And my 7th Paragon board here, we have Vulnerable Damage from Exploit, and this board is Deadly Ambush for me. So, there you go. That is basically my setup. It's a 7 Paragon board setup, which is really strong because we have 7 glyphs. That is how Lilith dies super quickly. We stack on the poison damage, and that is super important because of this legendary power right here. Critical strikes with poison and boost skills have a 10% chance to create a toxic pool. Now, when you're standing in this toxic pool, your poison imbuement has no skill, no cooldown, and no charge limit. This is the really, really strong part about this build. When we have so much of our glyphs buffing the poison damage and our poison imbuement has no cooldown, then you can just keep on spamming it and the poison damage just keeps adding up and up and up, and that is how we kill Lilith super quickly with this build. I'll quickly go over the rest of these items here. We have core skill crits, increase attack speed. Of course, we want a lot of crit on our items here. A lot of crit, max crit on both my rings, max crit damage, vulnerable damage, close damage, all really good. All stats you should be looking for. We have an amulet here with move speed, which I believe is actually very important if you're going to try to kill Lilith. You want max move speed, remember. You can only get move speed on amulet and boots, so you want move speed on amulet and boots for sure in order to dodge as many of her spells as possible. You can see here I have the move speed on both of them. I also like plus max evade charges, although I don't think that one is mandatory. As far as the pants go, I'm still using Temerity, although I've heard that this is not mandatory. You can just use other pants that just have damage reduction, max life, armor, that kind of stuff. It should work as well. If you don't have Temerity for gloves, I'm using plus Twisting Blade, plus attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, and I'm using Edge Masters for our armor here. I'm using more DR on Dark Shroud. You can use any defensive one you want though. We have a max life here and some more damage. Although you could just build all defensive stats on your armor as well. That one's kind of like whatever you prefer. For the helmet, I have plus 4 poison imbuement, and this is plus 10 armor. And the legendary power we're using is vulnerable enemies have a 45% chance to be dazed for 2 seconds. This is on a lucky hit, so you can see a lot of lucky hits in this build. This is important because you really want to stagger the boss on the second phase as much as possible. It helps out a lot in terms of the mechanics involved. Um, but yeah, and we have move speed on our boots for the legendary power as well. For our weapon, it's going to be twisting blade power for the two-handed, and I have a barrier, 25% extra damage with barrier that synergizes with the temerity barrier. And for the last weapon, I think this one's really good. You really want the unique that gives you up to 30% extra attack speed, because like I mentioned already, attack speed is amazing with Twisting Blade Rogue. So that's the build, that's the board, that's the Paragon and the skill tree. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to check out how fast it can kill Lilith, I have a lot of other videos on my channel with my runs, my attempts at killing Lilith, so you can just check out some of those videos and you can see her how fast her life bar drops with this build. Alright, catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this.